हुजूर, अक्सर हम लोग सत्संग में सुनते हैं, आपकी तुकें ये होती हैं कि इस जग में न्यारे रहो और रहो हरि ध्यान,
लगे रहो धरी
लगे रहो हरि ध्यान, पृथ्वी में देही बसे। और
परमेश्वर में प्राण।
हुजूर, रोज़ाना की ज़िंदगी में परमेश्वर में ध्यान हर लम्हे में लगाना बहुत मुश्किल है, नामुमकिन लगता है। आप कोई नुस्खा बताएँ जिससे हम थोड़े-थोड़े स्टेप्स लेके कम से कम उस तरफ मुड़ तो जाएँ?
सोच की बात है। ये महात्मा चरणदास की वाणी है कि जग में न्यारे रहो, लगे रहो हरि ध्यान, पृथ्वी पर दे ही रहे परमेश्वर में प्राण। यानी कि जहाँ भी जन्म लिया है कर्मों के कारण लिया है, कर्मों का हिसाब किताब तो देना ही देना है। उनके साथ जो भी जिम्मेवारियां जुटी हुई हैं उनका भी हिसाब किताब देना है, मगर लक्ष्य को नहीं भूलना चाहिए। एथलेटिक्स में जब कोई दौड़ता है उसके सामने उसका लक्ष्य होता है, उस लक्ष्य को लेकर वो दौड़ता है। तो वैसे ही हमें भी कभी अपना लक्ष्य नहीं भूलना चाहिए कि हम किस लिए ज़िंदगी में आए हैं, मालिक ने क्या लक्ष्य रखा है। अगर वो ध्यान में रहेगा तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता अपने आप हमारे कदम उसी की तरफ बढ़ेंगे। हम भटक जाते हैं, हमारा ध्यान दूसरी तरफ हो जाता है। तो ये रोज़मर्रा ज़िंदगी में हमने ऐसा वातावरण बनाना है। अगर ऐसा वातावरण बनाएंगे, वो जैसे कहते हैं ना कि द जर्नी ऑफ 1,000 miles स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट स्टेप। तो हमने अपनी तरफ से कदम उठाना है, बाकी मालिक की बख्शिश है।
थैंक यू।
बाबा जी, आपने एक क्वेश्चन आंसर्स में कुछ दिन पहले कहा था, जो किस्मत विच लिखा है वो जरूर मिलेगा, तो जो नहीं लिखा वो जितनी मर्जी कोशिश कर लो नहीं मिलेगा। अगर ये सच है तो वेयर इज द एफर्ट एंड द फ्री विल?
I think that apart from who am I, this is the next question I think most of us ask, कि how much free will we have. So we have the free will in the sense that we can't choose the circumstances. Circumstances come through your destiny, through your kismat, as per your karmas. But having been put into a certain situation, now it's up to you how to react to that situation. Life is all about making choices. You can as easily make the right choices as you can make the wrong choice. So if you make the right choices, you're finishing the karma. You make the wrong choices, you're setting off another uh, chain reaction. So what is it that separates us? It's animals who react. As human beings, we must have objectivity. We've been given that vivek, that understanding to take the right decision. So from our side, we have to take the right step. Using our vivek, using our discrimination, we must do the right thing. Now, result is not in our hands. If result was in the hands of human beings, there'd be chaos in this creation because everybody wants something different. So the result is not in human beings' hands. Effort is in our hands. And if you put in the right effort and the objective is in front of you and you are working towards the right objective, then with His grace, He will help you to make the right choices and work towards that.
थैंक यू बाबा जी। बाबा जी, वन मोर। परमात्मा, ये दुनिया बनाने से पहले सब कुछ परमात्मा के पास था। तो परमात्मा ने हमें पैदा क्यों किया? जिंदगी का मकसद क्या है? मतलब सब कुछ सही था तो दुनिया पैदा करके परमात्मा एक तरह से तमाशा देख रहा है।
ये एक पुराना बहुत गाना है, दुनिया बनाने वाले क्या तेरे दिल में समाई, काहे को दुनिया बनाई. So again, this is something we can only understand when we reach his level. The little child is going to ask the parents a lot of questions. But I guess at that level of maturity, he probably won't understand. So what we do understand is that a certain separation is being felt within us as being separated from the Father. And mind you, I use the word felt because the separation is not there. We are part and particle. Atam mein Ram, Ram mein Atam. Chinus Gur Vichara. that in the soul is the Lord and the Lord is in the soul, but few have been able to understand it. So we are working towards a certain understanding. We are working towards a certain experience where we can feel that divine essence within us. So it's an experience rather than working towards something. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to do anything. We just need to experience it within ourselves. So we are not actually separated. We have created that separation because of the physical. When we see ourselves as distinct physical beings, so we feel there is a certain separation. But the moment you see yourself as the soul, that soul is of the divine essence, then you will never see yourself as separated. We are as separated from the Lord as the ray of light is separated from the sun. We are as separated from the ocean as the small drop of water is separated. So that's more in our mindset. We need just to feel that divine essence within ourselves, and that will sort of take care of this question of separation, the question of wanting to go back or achieving something. We are there. When He gave us human birth, we are there. So this life, as somebody said, we come into life uh, thinking that we need to sort of understand what it is to be human. And the moment we learn what it is to be human, the merger will take place automatically.
उसी ने अच्छाई बनाई, उसी ने बुराई बनाई, और फिर he says सब मेरे पास वापस आ जाओ, मतलब you find your way back to me.
No, He hasn't made anything negative. We see things as positive and negative. उसने कोई बुरी चीज नहीं बनाई. Whatever He has created, He's created as positive. But having to protect ourselves, we've created certain considerations, certain social laws. So to protect each of ourselves from each other. So we have made things into good and bad. For Him, everything is this thing. Now, as we say, one man's food can be another man's poison. Everything doesn't suit everybody. What can suit you may not suit the next person. And therefore, social laws were brought into place that we don't encroach on each other's freedom. Because absolute freedom means if I'm free to do anything I want to, then if I don't like you, I should have the freedom to hit you. But then that's encroaching on the other person's freedom. And that is why these social laws were enacted, where we respect each other's freedom and still we are able to maintain our own independence.
ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਐਕਸਪੈਕਟੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਾਬੂ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ?
You see, the problem, all pain and pleasure comes from the expectation. We expect too much from everybody. Are we able to fulfill everybody's expectation from us? When we cannot fulfill their expectation, how do we expect them to fulfill our expectation? Sometimes they will and sometimes they won't. So our mindset should be that if the other person has tried, maybe it's not possible what you are asking. So it is important to keep that balance and not expect so much from everybody, especially from your husbands.
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ।
बाबा जी, करनी और दया मेहर का बहुत गहरा संबंध है। ऐसी वो कौन सी करनी है या वो कौन सा तरीका है जो करने से अधिक दया मेहर बरस सकती है?
उसके हुक्म में रहना, उसकी रजा, where we don't distinguish between good and bad. We are able to accept the good and the bad in equal measure. Today we treat everything this is good for me or this is bad for me. When you stop thinking about the good and bad and you accept each thing as His will. We often told that story in satsang where the the ministers tell the king that you favor this one minister more than all of us. And why do you favor him? So the king gets some fruit. He cuts it and gives it to everybody. And everybody who tastes it makes a very sort of bad face because the fruit is very sour. And when it's given to this gentleman, and he eats it without making a face. So he said, what do you think? He said, it's wonderful. And he said, everybody else thinks it's sour. He said, in my life, whatever has been given to me has been given by you. And it was all good. So one little thing, I'm not going to distinguish and say this is bad for me. There must be something good in it for me, even from this fruit. So it's a question of our faith. When we start having that kind of faith that he's only doing the best for us, why would I distinguish what is good and what is bad? What is happening in my life? I would accept it as it comes and see that, okay, if he's given this to me, it must be for my benefit. How do I move on?
कबीर साहब की बानी है, कर्म की गति न्यारी संतों, बड़े बड़े नयन दिए मिर्गन को, बन बन फिरत भिखारी। ये कर्म की गति प्लीज समझा दें बाबा जी।
कबीर साहब ने बहुत सरल तरीके से समझाया है कि कर्म जो जो करेगा तो वही फिर भोगना भरना। सो कर्म मीन्स एक्शन। अब हर एक एक्शन का एक रिएक्शन होगा, विच इज द लॉ ऑफ नेचर, कि जो भी आप कदम उठाएंगे, जो भी आप करेंगे, उसका एक रिएक्शन होगा। वो भी लॉ ऑफ केमिस्ट्री है, फिजिक्स है। सो उसका रिएक्शन तो होगा। अब हमारे में वो इतनी ताकत नहीं है कि हम सभी को मान सकें। कभी मानते हैं, कभी नहीं मानते, मगर रिएक्शन तो होगा। तो इसलिए हमें सोचना चाहिए कदम उठाने से पहले। अगर सोच के कदम उठाएंगे तो अपने ताकत के दायरे में रह के जो भी होगा तो हम सहार सकेंगे, मगर अपने दायरे से बाहर निकल कर कोई कदम उठाएंगे तो उसका बोझ शायद इंसान से उठाया नहीं जाएगा।
थैंक यू बाबा जी।
Babaji, while meditating, how can one improve one's concentration or focus?
Regularity, practice makes perfect. I mean, whatever you do, regularly, and you are practicing every day, that automatically will become easy for you. I remember the first time one got into the car, you had to, really think. And if somebody talked to you, you'd say, listen, don't talk to me, I'm going to bang the car. But over a period of time, months, days, years, now you've gotten that practice where you can talk, you can look outside, and the hand and the feet automatically move. So practice makes perfect.
Thank you, Babaji.
Babaji, karma is the mover of destiny. Then why do we need to forgive? If we forgive and don't forget, of what purpose is such forgiveness?
The first and foremost is, who are we to forgive?
Yes.
You see, as long as you are forgiving, then you brought the I into it. And if the I is into it, then the benefit of that and the load of that also has to be borne by the I. No? So who am I to forgive? Only he can forgive. And he doesn't judge. So he's a forgiving father. He's willing to forgive, provided we are willing to seek that forgiveness. He's not there to judge us. So we should never think about us having to forgive anybody. Are we perfect? Have we never sort of hurt anybody? And if we make mistakes and in our own manner, we sometimes hurt other people, we need to learn. We need to see how to correct our attitude towards everybody. But to say that anybody has the ability to point a finger at others. You see, as human beings, we have very few choices. But one thing we can choose is the measure by which we will be judged. So if we are going to point a finger at others, one day the finger will be pointed at us. If we love others, he will love us. If we judge others, we will be judged. So we can't afford to point a finger at anybody else. We must inculcate that attitude of wanting to love everybody and move on rather than holding on. We hold on to this negativity and it becomes a burden for us. The other person may think about it or not, but then you are carrying that load of negativity in your mind. So we must learn to move on.
When you make a mistake and you want to rectify it, and you, because you know that you can not make it again, but again if it keeps happening, how does one try and get out of this?
But then where is the vivek? Where is the sense of discrimination? At the ending of the day, he's given you a sense of discrimination. I don't believe that people don't know what is good and bad. They choose to ignore it is a different thing. But most of us, as we grow up, we all know what is good and bad. And if I choose to regularly go and make that mistake, then I have to bear the burden of that. But I make a mistake, I'm sorry, I correct myself. Okay. In the house, the child does something wrong and he comes and apologizes to the mother and she'll say, okay, don't do it again. Again, he does it. She's going to say, look, don't make a habit out of it. Again, he does it. And she's probably going to say, look, if I don't pull your ear, you're not going to learn. You're just taking everything for granted. So he's willing to forgive, provided we learn. But if we are going to take him for granted, we are going to take everything else for granted. We'll see ahead what happens, who knows karma, who knows what is in the afterlife and all that. Aren't we suffering enough in this life that we think that we want to keep the suffering on for more lifetimes? So he's afforded us the opportunity, let's learn. And if we learn, he's a forgiving Father.
Babaji, suppose somebody is not on the path and you know that the person is making a mistake and you try and tell him and the person doesn't understand.
Whether they are on the path or not really doesn't make a difference. It's a very simple thing. Is the Lord a biased Lord? That he's made somebody rich and somebody poor, somebody healthy, somebody without limbs. If he's a biased Lord, then he's not worthy of our attention. If he isn't biased, then how do we account for all this distinction? This is where the karma comes in. You see, so every action of ours, there is going to be a reaction. And we are paying for the consequences of our past actions. And we have to own responsibility of our future actions. We can't just put it on anybody or say, I don't know, or somebody, the person who's part of the crime also gets a punishment. So our duty is not to force our philosophy or our thinking on anybody, but just in a positive manner, in a nice manner, just to explain to them, and then it's their choice.
Thank you.
You can't live anybody's life for them. You can't live your own children's life. Yeah? Your own children don't listen to you. They think that maybe they'll have a different experience. So you can only create a positive environment. You can teach the child, but you can't live his life for him.
Thank you.
Babaji, we are constantly reminded that this is not our real home and we shouldn't get attached to things happening around us. Right now, we're seeing so much suffering all around us at the moment. How do we stay detached and yet be helpful to others?
You see, many things are said to us in a manner of speech, and that is to explain to us that everything in this creation is transitory. It is not permanent. Means everything is going to move on. Now, would you suppose you've hired a house and you've hired a car. You know that one day that car I have to return and house is rented and I have to leave that house. You won't, logically you understand that I can't get attached to my surroundings out here because I have to move on. What is it in life that doesn't change? The weather, the people, everything changes. But somehow we don't want things to change. We want them just time to stand still. But time can't stand still. So he has afforded this life to us to learn that these are not permanent things. Relationships will change, weather changes, everything will change. Life is not going to go the way you want it. So whether it is illness, whether it is sadness, happiness, it will come and go. And we have to adjust our uh, mental attitude, knowing that all this is of an impermanent nature. It is not going to be there. This too shall pass.
Babaji, all the people suffering at this point in time, how do karmas blend? How do we accept it? How do
See,
they
when
come?
somebody is down, I think the last thing he wants to hear from you is karma. That look, it was in your destiny, you have to go through him. At that moment, what he needs is support. He needs sympathy. He needs love. He needs understanding. So don't start moralizing to them, ke, oh, it is karma and all that. Somebody passes away. The main thing we all go and say is, oh, he had to go one day. They know it. It's not that they don't know it. But they have to come to terms with the situation in life. And you have to help them to come to terms. So don't moralize to them. Just try and be supportive to them. Be loving and caring to them, that they get that strength and confidence to move on from that. We all understand the theory of karma, that yes, it's whatever our actions are, we are going to have to account for everything. But there is a time to explain, and there's a time where you just need to be supportive.
Thank you, Babaji.
At different points in time, we've all tried to find love in some way. And that also, because we look for it in the physical form, seems transitory, and that can be very painful sometimes. How do we truly understand the meaning of the very small little word called love, Babaji, especially loving the master?
But, how can you find love? Love is not something which is on the outside that you go searching for it. And, these are all Mills and Boone stories, Barbara Cartland stories, where you saw a knight in shining white armor and he swept the girl off her feet. These are all stories. Love is within you. You have to experience and feel it from within. It's an emotion that is beyond anything else that you can ever experience. And if you have a positive attitude, you will see that love in everything. Maharaj used to say the Lord loves his creation through us. And similarly, if we see that positivity in everybody, we see the Lord in everybody, it will be just helplessness. Loving the Lord through his creation. We have restricted love to something very physical. Now, if you are going to restrict your love to physical over a period of time is going to change. Then does it mean that your love is going to go away? So, if we say we love the person, what do we love him for? We love him for his qualities, him or her for his or her qualities, their personality, what they are, or we are just loving them for their body or for one single aspect. That's the problem. No? We don't see things in totality. I mean, uh, what does beauty have to do with it? You don't want to put somebody on a mantelpiece and admire them out there. You want beauty is something which comes from within. And that beauty will never change. The outer manifestations of these things will change. Inner will not. So you have to reach that level to be able to feel and experience that love within.
Babaji, how do we learn to love the master?
You can't. You can't. Maharaj used to say, it's like asking a blind man to seek the one with eyes. So, again, he will help you to discover that love from within yourself. That is what the meditative process is, searching yourself, finding that inner love. And once you find that inner love, then you will not distinguish. It will not be based on distinction. Then you love everybody for what they are. Today, we want to change people we love. I want to mold my child in the way I think is right. I want to mold my spouse. I want to change my spouse into what I think is right and wrong. I'm not appreciating them for their qualities. But if I were to build on their qualities, they would become good human beings. So our entire life is based. When we were in college, who would you like to go around with? Somebody who's a little flirty, outgoing, partying, and all that. And then you decide to get married to her. And once you got married to her, the very qualities which attracted you are the qualities you want to change. Because then, as a wife, you feel that no, now she should not behave like this, she should behave like this. So, are we trying to live our lives through the others, or are we trying to be appreciative of their qualities? So, if we want others to sort of admire us and look up to us, we must learn to do the same with them.
Babaji, how do we learn to distinguish between love and desire? Because you said everything in the physical stems from desire, but we can also find love.
See, everything stems from desire. Everything stems from desire. Even the desire for the Lord is a desire. Desire for spirituality, that's also a desire. So at our level, there is going to be a desire, no matter what. The desire to be clean, I go and have a bath. Desire to sustain this body, I go and eat food. So everything stems from a desire. But the objective is the desireless action, the nishkam karma. We have to work towards that. Today there's a calculation in whatever we do. But we have to reach that level where we are doing something because it is right, not from what we are going to get out of it or what the calculation is. Then it becomes desireless action. So, of course, the moment you reach that level of desireless action, then life is over. But within this physical realm, everything stems from a desire. In this realm, we need to channelize our desires. We need to use our vivek, our discrimination to desiring something which is positive, which is beneficial, rather than something which is going to pull us downward.
So, Babaji, the desireless action is in some way love. Does it help us?
See, action means you are doing it. When it comes naturally, it's something, like a mother, for her to love a child is natural. It's not an action she plans or she sort of programs into herself. It stems from within her. And you have to reach that ability.
बाबा जी, भजन सिमरन करते वक्त क्या ऐसा होता है कभी, क्योंकि कुछ लोग पूछते हैं कि हम जी नेगेटिव रास्ते पर चले गए, ऐसा क्यों?
नेगेटिव रास्ते पे नहीं कोई जाता, मगर होता क्या है, मैंने कई बारी बेनती की है कि जिंदगी की किताब एक कोरी किताब थी. जो भी आपने जिंदगी में किया, देखा, पाया, वो किताब में लिखा गया. अब जब भी आप किताब खोलेंगी, पहले वही पाएंगी जो लिखा है. अब हम क्या करते हैं, सिमरन का मकसद तो ये था कि हम सिमरन करें और इन सब चीज़ों को मिटा दें, कि हमारी स्लेट फिर से खाली हो जाए, मगर हम उनकी परख करनी शुरू कर देते हैं. परख करोगे तो वो उतना जोर पकड़ के दोबारा जाके समा जाएंगे. सो अगर ज़िंदगी में कोई नेगेटिव चीज़ हुई है, अब जब आपने किसी चीज़ को मिटाना है, उसको सामने लाएंगे तभी तो मिटाएंगे. मेरे कंप्यूटर में कोई चीज़ है जिसको मैं डिलीट करना चाहता हूँ, मैं स्क्रीन के सामने लाऊंगा तभी तो डिलीट का बटन प्रेस करूंगा ना. अब उस वक्त डिलीट करने के बजाय मैं स्क्रॉल करना शुरू कर देता हूँ, उसको देखना शुरू कर देता हूँ, तो क्या होगा, मैं उस तरफ चले जाऊंगा ना. सो भजन सिमरन के वक्त अगर हम अपना ध्यान आंखों के पीछे रखेंगे और सिमरन करते रहेंगे, तो कोई ऐसी नेगेटिव चीज़ नहीं हो सकती. मगर आपने शुरुआत की और उसके बीच में आपने बागडोर किसी और को पकड़ा दी, तो फिर तो उसकी मर्जी है ना कि किस तरफ खींच के ले जाए. शुरुआत तो मैंने कर ली मन को संभालने की, मगर बीच में मैं तो पीछे हट गया और मन को कहा तू आगे ले चल, तो फिर तो वो तो किसी तरफ भी ले जा सकता है ना. तो हर वक्त हमने उसकी बागडोर अपने हाथ में रखनी है. जब तक हम उस मन और माया के आगे नहीं जाते, उस वक्त तक बागडोर अपने हाथ में रखनी है। और जब अगर हम सिमरन करते रहेंगे, हम कभी भी गलत रास्ते पे नहीं जा सकते।
थैंक यू बाबा जी।
हुजूर, मैं बेनती करना चाहुंदा ऑन द सब्जेक्ट ऑफ बेनती एंड फॉरगिवनेस या बख्शिश दी। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਝਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਅਸਲ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਤੋਂ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਭਜਨ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਜਿਸ ਬੰਦੇ ਦਾ ਵਿਵੇਕ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਕੋਈ ਗਲਤੀ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤੌਬਾ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਮਚ ਬੈਟਰ। ਪਰ ਆਮ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਕੋਲ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ, ਉਹ ਸੱਚੇ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਮਾਲਕ ਅੱਗੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਖਸ਼ ਲਓ। ਉਸ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਾਲਿਕ ਦੀ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀ ਰੋਲ ਪਲੇ ਕਰਦੀ?
ਦੇਖੋ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸਟੈਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੇਅਰ ਕੀ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਪ੍ਰੇਅਰ ਦੇ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਲੈਵਲਸ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਦੇ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਲੈਵਲਸ ਹੈ। ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖੋ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਹੈ, ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਸਮਝ ਵੀ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਸੀ, ਸਾਡੀ ਨਾਨੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਪਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਪਾਠ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਉਸ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਦੁਹਰਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਮਗਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਫਿਰ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੁੜ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਔਰ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਫਿਰ ਮਨ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਇੱਛਾ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮੈਂ ਦੁਹਰਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਇਹਦਾ ਕੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੇਅਰ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਸੋਚੀਏ ਨਾ ਸੋਚੀਏ, ਗ੍ਰੰਥਾਂ ਪੋਥੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੜ੍ਹਨਾ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੁਹਰਾਣਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੰਨ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਰਥਨਾ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ। ਮਗਰ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੱਧਦੇ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਜਾਗਰਤਾ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਇੱਛਾ ਉੱਠਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਮਝੀਏ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਬੋਲ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸਵਾਲ ਇਹ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮਾਲਿਕ ਜੇ ਦੇਣ ਦੀ ਤਾਕਤ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਜਾਣਨ ਦੀ ਤਾਕਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੱਖਦਾ? ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂਗਾ? ਔਰ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਦੇ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਜਾਣ ਵੀ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੇਚੈਨੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕੋਈ ਗਲਤ ਕੰਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਦੁੱਖ ਅਸੀਂ ਦਵਾਤਾ, ਹੁਣ ਮਨ 'ਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਾਫੀ ਮੰਗਾ। ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਸੱਚੀ ਮਾਫੀ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਦੁਹਰਾਈਏ, ਮਗਰ ਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਮਾਫੀ ਮੰਗ ਲਈ, ਚਲੋ ਮੇਰਾ ਬੋਝ ਹਲਕਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਮਗਰ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਦੁਹਰਾਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਮਾਫੀ ਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਮਤਲਬ ਨਾ ਹੋਇਆ। ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੱਚੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਹੈ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਆਉਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ, ਬਿਨ ਬੋਲੇ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਜਾਣਦਾ, ਕਿਸ ਆਗੇ ਕੀਜੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ, ਉਹ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ। ਇਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ। ਆਪਣੇ ਗਿਲਟ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਸਤੇਮਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਮਗਰ ਜੋ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੇਅਰ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੁੱਪ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਨਾਜ਼ਰ ਮੰਨ ਕੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਹੁਕਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦਾਇਰਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਜਿਸਮਾਨੀ ਦਾਇਰਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਕੁਛ ਬੋਲੀਏ ਨਾ, ਕੁਛ ਕਹੀਏ ਨਾ, ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ। ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹ ਬਾਹਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਰਦਾਸਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਮਗਰ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ। ਤੇ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੱਚੇ ਦਿਲੋਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਗਲਤੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਗਲਤੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ, ਅੱਗੇ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਬਚਾਓ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ,
ਬਖਸ਼ ਦੇਗਾ ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ,
ਹੈ
ਉਹ ਗੁਨਾਹ ਬਖਸ਼ ਦੇਗਾ।
ਉਹਦੇ ਕੁਛ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਪਿਆਰ ਔਰ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਜੀ। ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਪਿਆਰ ਦਾ ਸਾਗਰ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਹੋਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ। ਜੇ ਮਾਲਿਕ ਪਰਖ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗ ਪਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਬਖਸ਼ੂਗਾ ਕੌਣ ਜੀ? ਮਾਲਿਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਰਖ ਕਰਦਾ। ਇਹ ਪਰਖਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਨ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਮਨ ਚੈਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀਣ ਦਿੰਦਾ। ਸੋ ਤੰਗ ਸਾਡਾ ਮਨ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਮਾਲਿਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦਾ। ਮਾਲਿਕ ਤਾਂ ਹਰ ਵਕਤ ਬਖਸ਼ਣ ਨੂੰ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੈ। ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਿਗਲ ਸਨ ਦੀ ਕਹਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬਾਪ ਤਾਂ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਵੇ, ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਗਿਲਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਜਾਊਂਗਾ, ਕਿਸ ਮੂੰਹ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਾਫੀ ਮੰਗੂੰਗਾ। ਪਰ ਜਿਸ ਦਿਨ ਉਹ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਇਆ, ਉਹਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਸੇ ਵਕਤ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਛਾਤੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਲਾ ਲਿਆ ਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਸਨ ਕਿ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਔਗਣ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਓ, ਗੁਣ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਓ, ਆਓ ਤਾਂ ਸਹੀ। ਸੋ ਅਗਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਸ਼ਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਵਾਂਗੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਚਲੋ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਬੇਨਤੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ, ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਰਦਾਸਾਂ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ, ਮਗਰ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਮਨ ਦੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਅਸਲ ਕੀ ਮੰਗ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਅਸਲ ਕੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
थैंक यू बाबा जी।
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ।
My question is on aversion. In our everyday lives, how do we avoid having any aversion or dislike towards any people or country or situation? How do we rise above
Why
this?
should we have aversion? Everybody has come with his or her destiny, which is based on their karma, and they are going to have a behavioral pattern which may or may not suit us. My having an aversion to somebody or my not liking somebody, that can't change his or her destiny.
Not a person, more people.
Same with people. Whether it is countries or something, every president of the country or every prime minister of a country is going to think about his country because he's responsible for that. He's not responsible for the other country. So he's going to do what is in the best interest of his country. So we can't put it into aversion that I am averse to this or I don't like this. Good for you. But that doesn't change his destiny. He's going to behave in the way he has to behave.
I just found it a natural tendency
to be averse from people.
Towards people who, not people, persons who are thinking opposite of the way we think.
No. Where is it written that we think right things and everybody else thinks wrong? If I want them to respect my way of thinking, I must respect their way of thinking. Never. This is arrogance. It is absolute arrogance if we think that we are right and the others are wrong. That is what we must have, a healthy respect for each other, for each other's way of thought. Now we can say we are vegetarian. Now animals, sometimes they are not vegetarians. So should I say that this animal, I'm averse to this animal? But that's his way of life. That's what he was made. That's how he was made. What can that poor animal do? I agree with you that sometimes, you can meet somebody and without him having said a word, you take an aversion to him. And sometimes you meet somebody, they may not have said a word, but you start liking them. Chemistry. Good chemistry and bad chemistry. But I won't go to the extreme and use the word aversion. If you don't like somebody, avoid them. But to say that I must sort of change that person or I must impose my thoughts on that other person, why? That's arrogance.
We love our culture, we love our country. So persons who are opposed to our country, who are opposed to our culture.
But they like their country, they like their culture.
Yeah.
So then, they are fulfilling their duty, they are fulfilling their destiny. Just because it clashes with my destiny doesn't mean that they are wrong. I must learn to respect them.
Thank you.
You see, that's what all the problems in the world are, because we are not respecting each other. We want to change everybody to our suit. And the best part is, you change everybody to suit you, you won't like them. Opposites attract. If everybody thinks like you and everybody behaves like you, it will become so boring, man. You won't like them. You will say life has become so monotonous. It is the change, the variation in people. You have got so many people out here, they are all different from each other. If everybody was the same, you'd have the same question, you'd have the same answers, everything would be the same. Would you like that?